Greetings to all the students. Myself Dr. Aruna Singh, Associate Professor in School of Education, Noida International University. As we have discussed in the previous video, that in this particular module we are focusing on the key elements of the subject which we are going to study ahead. So measurement we have already discussed. Now the second concept is assessment. Assessment is an integrated part in the education system, in the teaching learning process. According to AERA, assessment is a systematic procedure for collecting information that can be used to make inferences about the characteristics of people or objects. It is referred as a process of collecting evidence and making judgments relating to outcomes. So we can analyze this definition like it is the systematic procedure of collecting information. And how we are collecting information? That is, measurement is already done. On the basis of that measurement we are collecting information, and on that information, on that collected data, we can arrange the data in so many ways and we can make inferences, right? And we can make inferences about various things, about the characteristics of people or objects. So it is referred as a process of collecting evidence and making judgment related to outcomes. It analyzes the data received through measurement and provides meaning to it. It is said that assessment has a broader meaning than measurement but a narrower meaning than evaluation. Evaluation is yet to understand, but yes, definitely it is clear that assessment has a broader meaning than measurement. In connection to measurement, we can say that measurement is a process of quantifying attributes and assessment is the process of collecting the quantified information about the attributes and then interpreting it. We can understand this with the help of an example. Like some teacher is there in secondary school and she conducted a unit test in all the sections of class 9th and she has given an objective type test of 20 marks. Now she is compiling the scores class wise and then she made the group of above average, average and below average students. She returned the answer scripts with remarks like your performance is average, below average or above average. Like on the answer script, marks are also mentioned and their category of assessment, which is done in assessment, average, below average or above average, it is mentioned. So definitely it is clear that when she assigned 1 mark for the correct answer and 0 for the wrong answer, this is a measurement because we are assigning number or a numeral to the answer. Then the teacher calculated total score of each learner. That is again a part of measurement. Now when teacher categorized learners' performance as below average, average and above average, then this is the assessment is going on, right? Because we are interpreting that data, that collected data. Then she identified the topics. Now this is something new, that she is identifying the topics or the areas where learners have not performed well. This is also a part of assessment, and from here assessment is categorized into 3 categories. That is assessment of learning, assessment for learning and assessment as learning. Now let us see what is assessment of learning. It is basically focuses on learners' achievement against some procedure, against some predefined outcomes and standards. Sometimes it is referred as summative assessment. And this type of assessment takes place at the end of the module or at the end of the semester. That means after a long span of time, such type of assessment takes place. That's why it is called summative assessment, and it is focusing on the achievements of the learners, that what they have learned in that particular period of time. Now assessment for learning, which is very, very important in teaching learning process, and it is helpful for student as well as for the teacher. And how? Since it is practiced by teachers during their teaching learning process, Its main objective is to improve teaching and enhance learning by facilitating learners. When the loopholes, when the weaknesses of the students are assessed by the teacher, then what to do? Then how to improve upon these weaknesses? This is where the assessment for learning takes place. It is for a short duration of time and it takes place side by side and parallelly during the classroom teaching, during the teaching learning process in the classroom. It is more frequent and mostly unstructured, right? Because after a small gaps, after explaining some concepts, the questions can be put up by the teacher and the immediate feedback is taken by the teacher, so it is unstructured and formative assessment. Then assessment as learning. When learners are asked to assess their performance on their own, they use various assessment techniques and strategies to assess themselves. This practice helps learners to identify their knowledge gaps, they can adopt appropriate learning strategy and use assessment as tool for new learning. In this, the learner is highly motivated, self-motivated, and they find out their own gaps and they find out the strategies which can act upon the weaknesses and they can improve upon them. Now, the highest concept or the biggest concept in this process, in this journey, is evaluation. Evaluation is a systematic process of collecting and analyzing data in order to determine whether and to what degree objectives have been achieved or are being achieved. That's why it deals to decision making. This definition is given by Gay in 91 and this is self-sufficient definition in which we can see various elements in the evaluation systematic process. It is a systematic process where we are collecting information, and how we are collecting information? Through measurement. We are analyzing data in order to determine, analyzing data through assessment, and we are analyzing data in order to understand, in order to determine to what degree the objective of the teachers have been achieved. So finally, when we conclude all this, it leads to decision making, it leads to action taken. That is why it is called evaluation. As a teacher, we should understand that the purpose of evaluation is to make a judgment, finally the judgment about the quality or worth of something. Again, this is given by Abel and Frisbee in 91. Now these are the elements of evaluation which we have just discussed. Systematic collection of evidences through measurement, analysis and interpretation through assessment, then value is given to the judgment, and then finally the action is taken, which is evaluation. These are the characteristics of good evaluation. It should be valid, reliable, practical, fair and useful. Valid means what it sets to measure. It measures exactly the same. If a 6th class student has been given a mathematics paper of 10th class, that means it is not valid. Second, it should be reliable. Reliable means the consistency. The test should give, evaluation of the student should give the consistent result. In terms, the conditions can be different, but the comparable conditions. It should be practical in terms of time, in terms of money and the energy. It should be fair to all the students and it should be useful for future also. Now the relationship among the measurement, assessment and evaluation. We can see that evaluation is an umbrella term which covers both measurement, assessment and finally the evaluation. So we can see that measurement is the first process in this first step in this process. Then comes assessment, and when the assessment gives value judgment, when it adds value to the judgment, it becomes evaluation. Now assessment for enhancing learning. It is an integrated part of teaching learning process. It helps in monitoring learning and ensuring minimum level of learning in every aspect, every area. Assessment helps teachers in planning, teaching, learning according to long-term and short-term needs of the learner. Like we have discussed summative and formative assessments. It assists communication about children's progress and development between teacher and child, teacher and parent, and teacher and teacher. It helps in identifying specific learning difficulties of the learners so that teacher can plan and adopt suitable strategy and technique to support such learners. Right? After measurement, after going through interpretation, teacher come to know about the various weaknesses, loopholes where the learner needs support. So this support can be given on the basis of assessment in the form of remedial teaching, in the form of extra classes teaching, or it can be emotional support or any other support. Assessment helps in maintaining continuity in communication between teachers, learners, and parents so that required intervention can be given at appropriate time to enhance learning. These are few questions as assignment which you should attempt. What are the scales of measurement? What do you understand by assessment and evaluation? And explain the interrelationship among measurement, assessment, and evaluation. These are few references which I referred. Thank you students for your patient learning.